Hi, welcome to another video. This is Mr. Chow from EnglishTuition.org. I've done a lot of a previous video on the topic of the PSLE English oral. So if you want really good content, serious stuff, do check out the playlist. For today's video, we will run through some of the common myths, right? That I find that it's quite amusing, right? That I find that students tend to believe in that, if they believe in these myths, then they tend to do well. Unfortunately, that's not true, so let's visit these myths and find out what they are. The first myth is that some students tend to think that as long as I'm chatty, right, I talk a lot, therefore I expect to score very well for my PSLE English oral examination. Is that true or false?
Don't sing it! You're not singing, I hear!
Well, the answer is it's mostly true, but not always, right? The point is that you can be chatty, but if you're not answering the question, you're not listening to the question carefully, you can go out of point and digress and talk about something else. And many young students, right, especially at the primary level, they tend to just want to talk about what they want, right, instead of answering the question. So if they do that, then they may bring down their own oral score. So it's not always true that if you just go there and like maybe talk nonsense, for example, right, that you're going to do well for the English oral exam. So try to listen carefully and be on topic and just talk about how you feel, answer the question, and then you can expect to do well. All right. Now let's move on to myth number 2. So what's myth number 2? Some students go, well, I've read every single word in the reading passage, so I expect to do well. So for this myth, I'm referring to the reading passage at the beginning of the oral examination. So what a lot of students do, they just read the passage, word for word, every single word, and they think, I've done well enough, right? Is that true or false? Okay, the answer is mostly true, but just by reading every single word, that does not automatically get you an A. Now, the reason is because some of the reading can be pretty robotic.
My lord?
Uh-huh.
My lord?
Yo.
My lord? My lord?
Stormtrooper.
My lord?
Stormtrooper.
My lord?
Stormtrooper.
Right? So they just read the words without understanding the meaning. So it reads, the way they read, the manner in which they read the text passage doesn't convey the idea that, hey, I have understood what is on this text passage, and therefore I'm able to demonstrate through my reading, through my voice, through my emotions, that I know what is happening in the reading passage. So how to score an A for the reading passage? Well, read with emotions, right? So at the appropriate moment, if the character is supposed to be excited, read with a bit of excitement, right? It's supposed to be happy, read as if you're really happy. Or if the character is angry, right, very angry, read as if you're angry. So that shows the examiner that you have understood very well what is happening in the passage, and then you will get additional marks for that, okay? As for myth number 3, some students believe that I need to sound intelligent to do well. True or false? So what I mean by that is that some students think that they need to discuss topics that are too mature, right, for their level. So at the primary level, you don't have to go out of the way to, maybe talk about regional issues, for example, right? Talk about what Prime Minister Lawrence Wong is saying. You don't have to do that, right? So you don't have to try and impress, okay? So the answer for this is definitely false. You do not have to go out of your way to sound intelligent in order to do well, right? Just talk about yourself, talk about your own experiences, talk about how you feel about certain topics that are being given to you, and those are good guiding principles to make sure that you don't go out of point, right? Or you don't digress and then talk about something in outer space, right? So that's myth number 3.
There is a 5th dimension, beyond that which is known to man.
Myth number 4. Some students believe that I need to pray, right, for a good-looking invigilator in order to do well for the PSLE oral, English oral, right? So, true or false? So where does this myth come from? I find that a lot of primary school students, they tend to look at the examiner, right, or the invigilator in this case, for approval, right? Am I saying the right thing? Am I saying the wrong thing? So, well, good looks certainly help, because if the examiner looks approachable, then you tend to do better. But if your examiner looks intimidating, right, with a very fierce look, very stern look, then they get affected.
Hello, handsome.
So the answer for this, of course, is false, right? So don't let your grades be influenced by how the invigilator looks, right? You're there to demonstrate. Remember, the objective of the oral is to demonstrate that you have good oral skills. So let's demonstrate that you have the skill regardless of the looks of the invigilator, and you will do well, right? Even if it's a very aggressive looking invigilator, okay? Next, let's talk about myth number 5. Well, some students, and this is funny one, some students believe that using an accent helps with the scoring, right? That they're supposed, is that true or false? Okay, so they try to mimic some kind of accent, right? Like for example, they get asked a question, and then during the conversation, they go like, that's not true, mate. It's not true, ain't it? Right? And then they start to use certain accent, but I'm not very good at using accents, right? So don't attempt to do that just to sound good, just to sound that you are maybe like a native English speaker, right? So that answer is definitely false, right? You don't have to use an accent to help with the scoring.
That's a lovely accent you have.
Now let's move on to myth number 6. Right? Some students believe that eating a chewy sweet will help with creativity, right? Hence, I will have more content. True or false, right? And that's definitely false. In fact, I don't recommend doing this, right? Chewing sweets while you're going through the oral exam, because that might affect your pronunciation. And then imagine going like, and then you are trying to talk at the same time. Okay, that's going to be problematic. All right, so don't eat sweets, right? Just go there, maybe have a sip of water before the oral exam, and then you're ready. All right, so the answer is of course false. Myth number 7: reading with full emotions will help me earn full marks, right? True or false? So answer is false, right? So you don't have to really act out those emotions. You just have to convey to a certain extent that you have understood certain emotions, like for example the reading passage, and that's good enough, right? For example, you don't have to be really angry and show an angry face like, right, I'm really angry, Tom, right, and make your face become red and everything, right? Just so that you can earn full marks, okay? Or you don't have to talk in a super loud voice to show that you're fully angry or something, okay? Just a little bit will do, all right? As for myth number 8, some students believe that the louder I talk, the more confident I sound, right? So when they read and then during the conversation, they talk louder than they usually do, right? So I think, well, the guiding principle is that you just need to sound audible, right? Audible means people can hear you loud and clear. You don't have to shout, right? You don't have to go out of your way to really sound very loud. Okay, and the converse is also true. Do not mumble, right? Do not oh, is it true? Is it like nobody knows what you're talking about, right? Do not mumble, okay? And of course, don't shout, right? So just talk normally, sit with a good posture, right? That affects your confidence. And then just talk naturally to the examiner and you will do fine, all right? So answer, of course, again is false. As for myth number 9, right, some students tend to want to use big and fancy words like umbrage, for example, right, to make themselves look more intelligent, hoping to impress the examiner and then improve their scores. True or false? Well, the danger in doing that is that and this is not just for primary level students, by the way, right? Even older students tend to do this. Not just in oral, but also in exams as well, right? In essay writing as well. They tend to use words that they don't truly understand.
Wait, what?
So then that works against you rather than help you to earn marks, correct? Because you use the words in the wrong context. For example, and make yourself look like a fool, right? So don't do that, right? Only use words that you feel confident. You've been using them, you understand those words, and that should be the correct strategy for the oral examination. Okay, so answer largely false, right? So just try to use the words, put a bit of effort to recall the vocab that you have learned, and if you understand them, use them in the conversation, right? And then you will score better for the oral exam. All right, and finally we have myth number 10. Well, some students believe that making intense eye contact is the key to success, right? So they are staring very intensely at the examiner all the time, right? Yes, I believe this is true and this is the reason. This is very important because blah 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 blah. And you're looking and staring and staring and staring, right? True or false? Obviously, the answer is false. Okay, you don't have to do that, right? You need to focus on the content, right? And eye contact is good, but it has to be natural, right? So just like you're talking to a person, you're not staring into their eyes all the time, okay? But every once in a while, you do look at the person as if you're talking to that person, right? Making zero eye contact is also wrong, because how can it be that you're talking to the person but you're not looking at the person, right? So how does the person know that you're talking to him or her, right? For example, you're looking away and you're just like, oh, are you looking at the paper, right? Oh, I think yeah, I like to do that for this reason. And the more the examiner looks at you, the more you look away and shy away and shy away, right? After some time, are you still talking to the examiner, right? That's a question mark, okay? And it also creates the impression that you are not very confident with your English speaking abilities, and therefore it will affect your oral scores. All right, so just be natural, okay? Put yourself at ease, calm some nerves, and just have a proper, enjoyable conversation with the examiner. That's the right approach. All right. Well, I said finally just now. I think I'm finally, right? Here is a bonus myth for you. Okay. Some students believe that using hand gestures, right, will make themselves look more expressive, and hence that leads to oral scores. Higher scores, right? So true or false? So you don't have to talk with exaggerated hand gestures, right? You see somebody doing it on TV, right? They give speeches like this, right? Making these hand gestures, or you just go like, oh, you think it's so funny, right? Why this story is so funny? Right, a lot of hand gestures is very distracting, okay? So don't try to distract the examiner using exaggerated hand gestures. Just speak like a normal person, right? Just share your experiences, talk about how you feel, and that's it, right? So answer absolutely false, all right? Remove the hand gestures, right? Not recommended. So I'll close this video with some final tips for you, right? Try to stay on topic, listen carefully to what the examiner is asking you, right? Do not digress. If you find yourself digressing, you can always come back to the topic and maybe ask the examiner, right, what was the question again, or something like that. Just be yourself, also known as be natural, okay? Don't be a robot when you're reading the passage, and don't try to, be too overly fancy and try to impress, right, the examiner. Just be yourself, all right? So don't try to be funny, right? I just said that, right? Or get fancy, and demonstrate that you can communicate very well. This is the ultimate objective, right? All the rest are just distractions. They do not matter, right? Just demonstrate that you have good oral speaking skills, period, okay? So with that said, I wish you the best of luck for your PSLE English oral exam, right? So for those who are serious in picking up your language skills long term, and you would like to sign up for lessons, you know where to find me, EnglishTuition.org. All the details are there, and it does help out the channel a lot if you can leave a like and a subscribe, right? I'll see you again soon in the next video. Bye bye.